Hey, what's going on guys? My name is Hexaberry and today's video is just going to be over my wish list for some vehicles that I would like to see come to the Crew Motorfest. Now, a lot of people have been asking for this video, and by a lot of people I mean nobody. But if you want to submit your own opinions in the comments, go ahead. If you want to see a car that's not on this list come to the Crew Motorfest, let me know. Other than that, let's get started. And actually, I guess before I begin, some of these cars are going to seem a little wild and wacky to you guys. You might say, oh, they're not cool enough or sporty enough or fast enough to be in a racing game. Keep in mind that we have cars like, let's go in and check anyway. We have cars like the Volkswagen Bus. We have a Ford Crown Victoria in the game. We even have limousines in the game, so if you see anything on this list that looks out of the ordinary, just keep in mind that the Crew Motorfest already has some interesting cars in the game. Alrighty, well, starting off with number 1, it's actually my most requested car out of any game in Ivory Tower. If you see this, I beg you to add this to the game. I will throw it back, maybe. If you add this car to the game. I really want the 1978 Lincoln Continental Mark V in the game. It's big, it's boaty, it's floaty, it's luxurious. This Pontiac GTO is, I think, the closest thing to it in the game, year-wise and even, I guess, just size-wise. They have the Chevy Impala in the game, but that's a 4-door car, and the Continental's a 2-door car. It's just a really long 2-door luxury coupe. And I think it would be an interesting addition to the game, but it would also just be really, really fun. And Ivory Tower, if you could add it, it would make me the happiest person in the world. I had to get that out of the way as number 1. Number 2 on the list is actually something you guys might be familiar with. If you watched my Need for Speed Unbound car wishlist video, this car was in the wishlist video. It is the 1978 Honda Prelude. Now, I actually had the chance to buy one of these a couple years ago. It was actually an 81, but it was still a first-gen Prelude. I actually had the chance to buy one in Houston when I used to live in Texas, but I decided to decline on the offer because the car needed a lot of work and the price value was a little too much for what I wanted to pay. But if we could get it in the game, that would be an amazing addition. Yeah, this is the closest thing in the game is the Mazda RX-3. GTA 5 actually has the first gen Prelude as an online car, and I actually have it in my collection. Not entirely sure if I want to go back to playing GTA Online because there's really nothing to do in that game, but that's the only game that I can really enjoy that car in. Okie dokie, the third car on this list is also something from my Unbound wish list, which I don't really have much faith in anymore because the game is pretty much dead at this point. But the third car on this list is the 1968 Mercedes-Benz 280 SL. I just love the proportions of that car. Even since the setting is in Hawaii, the Roadster would just be perfect for this game. I know we had it in Forza Horizon 4. I'm not entirely sure if it came to Forza Horizon 5. I don't play that game because it's dead and boring. But I think this game would benefit, with that car in the lineup. Up next on my wish list for Motorfest is actually a truck. And it's something I haven't really seen in a game really ever recently, except for maybe GTA, their interpretation of it. It is going to be the 1976 Chevy C10 pickup truck, the square bodies that some people like to call them, because they have square shaped bodies. I haven't really seen one in any games that I've recently played other than GTA. We do have this little old, I think it's a 49, maybe a 50 something pickup truck by Chevy. I don't remember the exact year, but it looks great. It's awesome. But it would be cool to have a little bit more modern of a truck, somewhere between now and the Silverado that we've had since the Crew 1. And I think the square body would fit amazingly, especially if we could lower it or just keep it stock There's so many options that you can do with that car. Vanities would look awesome on it for some people. Maybe some white wall tires or anything else. Honestly, I just think it would be a great addition to the game, and I think the Crew 2 could benefit from having more pickup trucks in the lineup. Alright, moving on to number 5 on my wish list, and it's actually kind of an either-or situation. Whatever Ivory Tower would decide to do, I honestly wouldn't really care, but they already have the 1970 Chevelle in the game, and so I would either like to see a 1970 Chevy El Camino in the game. I honestly almost got an El Camino as my first car, but we really couldn't find anything that was reliable and working enough in the area that I lived in to be a reliable first car. It's interesting that I would almost have the chance to have one as my first car. It's a weird and wacky car. It's half car, half truck, but I could find many uses for it growing up. And I say growing up, like I'm only 22 years old. I would have gotten it somewhere in the middle of high school. Not entirely sure what I would be doing with an El Camino at the time, but it'd have more uses than the car that I have now. But if they don't decide to do the 1970 El Camino, I think the next runner-up would, and it's against a lot of other people's opinions, but I think the 1982 El Camino looks better than the 1970. I don't know what it is about the 80s, but I just love everything being squared off and having a rectangular shape about it. It's so cool to me, and I really just think that the 82 looks better and could be an interesting addition to the game. But if they do decide to go, even if they decide to add an El Camino to the game, it would probably be easier for them to do a 1970. To be completely honest, I wasn't entirely sure what to drive for this section of the video. This upcoming car, I have absolutely... There's going to be no chance it's going to be added to any game at all, unless Ivory Tower decides to be cool and epic. Epic and cool is, what I would like to say. But I found this little van thing in the Rally Raid section, and it's going to pair up with my... What is it, number 6? It's going to pair up with my number 6 car on the wish list, and it is the 1984 Dodge Caravan. I actually have a little die-cast Auto World car of it, and that's actually when I fell in love with the model, the 1984 Caravan, the first minivan. It'd be really, really interesting to have in the game. We don't really have any minivans at all, other than this. I guess it's more of just a big van, a normal van. We don't have any minivans. We have SUVs and everything, but having an 84 minivan would be very interesting. That's more of like a Forza car. They do interesting things as well. But if Ivory Tower could add it, that might be one of my main cars that I actually drive around, just because it's so weird and interesting. But yeah, actually, hold up, let me go show you my car real quick that I have. Hold on. When I got this, I just fell in love with it. It's so squared off, it's so boxy, and it's so interesting. Take a look at that. It's so... It'll focus. Whatever. But it's so interesting to have. I never expected any die-cast company to make something like that, but Autoworld does just a lot of interesting things. My Snuggie is stuck on my chair wheel. But having something like that in the game would just be... It would help the game stand out a lot. I guess not really a lot. Maybe only to me. I just like interesting cars in games. I think they need to add more standoutish cars. It'd also be perfect for some, road trip roleplay. If people like to do that, it'd just be very interesting. Okay, so number 7 is actually something we technically already have in the game, but we have the convertible version. Now, I would like to see, since we already have like the standard base GT model of the 2024 Mustang, I would like to see the 2024 dark horse Mustang, and a lot of people I think would agree with me on that. We already have the GT. It'd be cool to have a hardtop version of the GT, but it'd kind of just be the exact same thing. I think it'd be cooler if we had the dark horse variant of this car. I think it would be a great competitor with the Hellcat, both Challenger and Charger. And it would just be something that I would cruise around with a lot. I'm kind of starting to get a little bored of the convertible. I would prefer a hardtop of this car. But yeah, a dark horse would just be something that I would really be interested in seeing. And I think it'd be easier for them to do. They technically already have like half of this. Oh, oops, I'm sorry, family of 7. I don't think it'd be too hard for them to do a dark horse since they've already done this. They already have the sound and everything. And I think it'd just be pretty easy for them to do. Alrighty, and then if you haven't really remembered, but at the start of the video, I said top 10 vehicles that I want added to the Crew Motorfest. Vehicles as in, I want some extra motorcycles in the game. God, these handling physics suck. I would like to see a 2024 Honda Grom in the game. We already have the Honda license. My friend Mitchell says we're going to Applebee's tonight. Out of all places we could have picked to go, he picked Applebee's. Really, Mitchell? Where was I at? I hate the physics of the motorcycles. 1, they need to change the physics. 2, they need to add a Honda Grom. A Honda Grom would just be so much fun to have. Or the Honda Navi. The Honda Grom is a lot more popular though, and I can see a lot of people riding those around. Especially if they make them really nimble. It would just be a whole lot of fun to have. And, a street race with just Honda Groms everywhere would just be a blast. Okie dokie, gang, almost finished with the list. But, number 9, I'll give you a hint. I'm riding a Harley Davidson. I guess you can't really make a hint out of that. There's a lot of Harleys in the world. But the Harley Davidson Livewire, the 2024 Harley Davidson Livewire, I think it's called the S2 Del Mar, I believe. I don't know. I was looking those up last night, and I was like, wow, that'd be pretty cool to have in the game. And it's an electric motorcycle, and they already have electric cars in the game. So I don't see why they wouldn't add an electric motorcycle in the game. Yeah, we have a Street Tier 1 Harley Davidson. It's, pretty basic, pretty simple. And then we have the Street Glide, which is, the average, biker's road trip mobile. And those are the only 2 Harleys that we have in the game, so I think it'd be beneficial to have Dude, these AI drivers need to learn how to drive. But I think it'd be beneficial to have a 3rd one in the lineup, and especially if it was electric, it'd be cool. Well, here we are with number 10, everyone. You might have disagreed with almost everything on my list. You might disagree with this one as well. But sticking with the electric theme, not a bike anymore though, it's going to be a car. I think they should add the Honda E. It wasn't available for sale in the United States. I think it was only available in the United Kingdom. Shout out to British people if you're watching this. But the Honda E, I just love the look of it, and especially the interior. It looks retro but modern at the same time, and it just looks really clean. Especially with the hand movements in the game, the wheel movements, the rotations and everything. We already have the Porsche Taycan in the game as a Street Tier 2 car. If they could make it a Street Tier 1 car, the Honda E is what I'm talking about. If they could make the Honda E a Street Tier 1 car, we'd have a lot of diversity in the game. You could have basically a car for every tier in a race, in a grand race. I think if they made it a Street Tier 1 car, it'd be really well balanced. Could even be meta, actually, but what's to say? Well, the Honda E was the last car on my top 10 wish list. All I'm really hoping for, actually, is just they add the 1978 Lincoln Continental Mark V. That is my all-time dream car. They added the Z, which is great. I love the Z. It's another car that I am inspired to get in the future. Not anytime soon right now, no, but especially with the dealer markups and everything. But the Z, the 2024 Mustang, and then a 1978 Lincoln Continental Mark V are my 3 dream cars right now. And if they added the Mark V, I think I'd just be the happiest person in the game. It would bring me a lot of joy. But that's going to be the end of the video, guys. Follow me on Twitter, or X, or whatever you want to call it. I do not care. But follow me on Twitter. I tweet some things, I reply to things, I like things. And it'd be cool to have some more engagement on there. And if you like this video, subscribe, hit the like button, and all that jazz. And if you want to see some other cars, oh god, watch out, concrete wall. Alright, cool, that's some safe driving right there. But if you want to see some cars that weren't on this list get added to the game, feel free to comment them below. Let me know what you think. Have a good night, good day, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, enjoy yourselves. Goodbye.